How's it going, everybody? It's Insomniattak here, and I'm bringing you some Street Fighter Cross Tekken ranked matches right now. And I'm bringing you that, of course, because I want to go over Street Fighter Cross Tekken version 2013, and it's gonna be coming out pretty soon. It's already the middle of November, I believe, or it's just the beginning of November. And the version update is supposedly scheduled for December. I'm not sure if it's early December or whatever, but that's what I know for sure that they've announced. Ayano, I think his name is the lead producer or designer, I'm not sure. He announced that it should be coming out in in December. And because of all this stuff, all these things that have been happening, of course, I myself am a fan of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I'm really enjoying the game. There are, of course, a lot of issues with the game that hopefully they will address in this patch update. And he's already been releasing some information about it, about some of the things that they're going to be changing to the game over the weeks that have passed, and I wanted to discuss about those things. And these are all subject to change. Some of these might be different. A lot of them, like as far as the system mechanics, I'm pretty sure those are concrete. Those are what they're already implementing into the game. But as far as character specific things and other things like that, I'm pretty sure they're still going to be tweaking those along the way as they're developing the game. After they've released the patch, they might do updates to certain characters to nerf things or change things around. But for right now, I'm just going to go over some of the things that they've already announced. So let's get into it. So first of all, one of the things, like they did a lot of like cosmetic changes. Two things, like the gem glow, like whenever it activates, it's slightly, I think it's toned down a bit, so the glow isn't as noticeable. I guess instead of it emitting off a larger radius around the character, it's a little dimmer. In my opinion, I guess, I don't know, like for me, I never really noticed. I never paid attention to that kind of thing when the gems activated or when they didn't. It didn't matter to me. It never took away from the fight, so I really don't know what was the point of that. Like why? Like maybe some people were having issues with it as far as when gems were activating. But I mean, you could always just look at the bottom of your like underneath your meter or where your meter is to see when a gem would activate if you really wanted to know. So I don't know. Maybe some people are really pleased with that. Myself, it's not a big deal. Another thing that they changed was the little fight thing that would pop up before a match would begin. I would say round 1 fight and all that. I guess that dissipates faster now because maybe it was there a lot longer, which I actually did notice when I was watching matches, that the fight starts way sooner. Like even though the fight when the thing says fight is on the screen, the match has already started, like way before that thing disappears. So I guess that's cool. Again, not something groundbreaking, not something that's completely gonna change the game from what it is right now, but that's an added bonus, and I appreciate it. One of the things I'm really happy with is launchers. How launchers work now. Before, when you would go into a boost chain or a boost combo and you would land it, and it would like go into that animation, that like camera zoom and all that, it would kind of slow down the game. It would really take away from the action, and sometimes it would even mess up the timing, because sometimes it would freeze a lot longer than intended, or sometimes it wouldn't freeze as long, and sometimes it wouldn't zoom out, and sometimes it would. And now they're just completely gonna change that all around. They're gonna make it so that it just does not zoom in at all. It's just gonna be the camera's gonna be fixed, and hopefully they also make it, the animation, even though it's fixed, I hope that they do make the launch into the next character, like the transition, smoother, because I've always thought like boost combos into the launchers, even though they look cool, especially like when they hit them, it looks like they really freaking hit them. It kind of took away from the fight. It kind of slowed down things, and I think that they should. And I think it's great that they're doing that. They're taking away the camera zoom, and I hope it does make the fighting smoother. Throws are another thing that are not very popular in this game, which I think kind of makes the game which is why the game is somewhat slower, because it's harder to open people up sometimes. Unless you're like playing a Tekken character or something like that who has just some of the most ambiguous jump-ins. But anyways, throws now are instead of 7 frames, which is pretty ridiculous. That's a lot of startup on a throw. It's now down to 5 frames, which is the same. I think it's the same amount of frames as Zangief's normal command throw. His SPD, I think his like all of his regular SPDs are 5 frames. Which is interesting. So I don't know how throws work against Zangief's command throw. I don't know if like what beats out what has higher priority. But I do know that throws going from 7 frames to 5 frames might not seem like a lot, but I think it's a very huge improvement, and I think it's gonna make the game a lot more interesting, a lot more faster paced, because you're gonna be able to open people up more. You're not gonna be able to just jab your way out of everything. Because if you think about it, in Street Fighter 4, I think grabs are 3 frames, and that's crazy. That's pretty fast. So 5 frames I think is good. I think it's really good. I think it's gonna help the game out a lot, and I'm welcome to that, because I think that's one thing I don't do enough in this game is throw, because it really, even when I get thrown, I'm not even mad. I'm like, okay, cool. It's just something that happens that does not happen enough, and I think once it starts happening, people are gonna be like, wow, okay, this guy's gonna open me up if I don't, tech enough. He's just gonna keep throwing me, and that's where the whole level of, Yomi or different setups and frame traps and everything are gonna come into play, and you're gonna see that in the game when it's 5. Just because it's from going from 7 frames to 5 frames, I think it's really gonna open up the game to new possibilities, and I'm really interested as to how it develops when it comes out. I want to see that. Guard cancels. I think guard cancels would be the alpha counters. Some people would call it alpha counters, where you cancel out of a block string or any kind of attack with forward, and I think it's forward, fierce, and roundhouse, which it means now that sorry, I don't even think I mentioned what it did. Guard cancels can no longer be followed up, which means I think if you do guard cancel somebody, some of the characters, if you were to guard cancel out, you can switch cancel into your next character and follow up with a combo. And now I think it doesn't do that. I think it just causes a hard knockdown, and that's that. Like, you just get away from the person, which I think is really smart, because it reminds me of I think it was Street Fighter Alpha, the Alpha series, where you would just guard cancel, and all it would do is pretty much reset the match, and it keeps the match from becoming stale. And like, if you really want to get somebody off of you, just guard cancel out, reset the situation, and go back in, and it's really cool. What else? Forward rolls. Okay, so forward rolls, they changed around a bit. After a forward roll, your hurt box appears 7 frames before any additional actions are possible. Which I think it means it's you can't necessarily do any actions until the 7 frames are up of recovery. I think you can still block, but as far as coming out of a roll and like instantly like shoryukening or jabbing, like you can't do that, which means forward rolls are now riskier, but they are still throw invincible, so you can't be thrown out of thrown out of your forward roll. So that's one benefit of it. Like on wake up, you don't have to worry about the throw, but you still have to worry about the mix up as far as if they're going to jump back and where they're going to land on that ambiguous cross up. That's still going to be a problem, and it also means that if you do a forward roll, there's still the risk of you being pressured more, because you can't do anything about it. You have to wait a lot longer before you can actually do anything, and that also makes it so it's easier to keep up the pressure on a person, and it makes it so that they can't just switch out to their next character so easily, because a lot of people who might be forward rolling are scared because their character is going to die soon, so they got to get out of there, or they don't want it to be stuck in the corner. So now there's more of a risk of doing a forward roll, but there's also still the benefit from the forward roll, like getting out of situations that the other person might be trying to put you into, and you also get the added benefit of not having to worry about being thrown. So that's really cool. Pandora. There's still a lot of controversy about this. I'm not too sure about all the information that I'm pretty sure they're gonna be releasing more information. Now, as far as Pandora, in my opinion, I think it should I think as far as it is right now, I haven't seen it really used in any high level situations or any like online ranked matches. I haven't seen any of those. Like maybe like 2 or 3 like rare matches. So Street Fighter Cross Tekken is all about Pandora. I mean, it seems like that's what it was really promoting, like Pandora mode, what it's all about. And it kind of sucks that when you think about this game as being like Pandora is pretty much the premise of this game. It's the whole like idea, or it's the whole reason why these characters are fighting each other. It's because of Pandora. And when it's not seen, when you're not seeing it in like matches so consistently, not necessarily consistently, more occasionally, then it just kind of it almost seems like it was just like fluff, like it was just thrown in there just to be like, oh yeah, this is the story, whatever, cool, just go fight somebody. So right now what they're doing is they're changing the timer for Pandora from 7 seconds to 10 seconds, and I'm not sure how Pandora works, but I think what would be a good way to make Pandora more of a threat, or more prominent, as well as also very risky, is that if you were to give it like kind of like X Factor-esque qualities, making, you know, your character speed up faster, making your character do more damage. Because I think in Pandora mode, I don't know necessarily all the qualities of it, but I think only only, what is it, only your meter is infinite, and that's it. Like you just have infinite meter. And I know there are some gems out there that do benefit Pandora, but I mean, not a lot of people are using that kind of tech, which also could be the reason why people aren't using Pandora mode enough, because they're not giving it enough credit. And I think the reason why they're not giving enough credit is because you're not seeing enough people sharing this information about Pandora, or people just really don't see it as that useful. So who knows, maybe 7 to 10 seconds could just be enough for people to be like, you know what, Pandora mode's worth it. Let's see where this goes. So what? A lot of the other like overall big changes to the game that I want to go over before I want to go into some character specific changes. I'm not gonna go over every single character because they've already announced a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go over some of the ones that are important to me, or the ones that I think are really interesting. So first of all, there's a lot of significant changes to meter building this time. Before, you could just kind of spam, you can just kind of reuse Hadouken charge and just dash around and build a shitload of meter, or any other character you could do that, you know, just do your charge in motion and build meter. But now they changed it so that if your move hits, you gain a shitload of meter, but if you're with the move, you really don't gain as much meter. So it's giving you the incentive that if you really want to get all that meter, and if you really want to stay in this fight and, you know, be a threat, you have to hit the person, or you have to, you know, you have to do something. You can't just sit in a corner whiffing, doing fireball cancels all day long, and you're not gonna get a lot of mileage out of that as much as you would by actually hitting the person with a fireball in the face. So that's one thing that I like, is it makes it so, you know, you don't have to quote turtle so much to get so much meter. Also, another thing that they're changing is the health regeneration. One of the things that they did was that they made the health regenerate, the little bar that's like the gray health, they made it a different color. It's like, I don't know, it's like orange glowing now. It's like flashing, I think, from what the pictures I saw. I don't know if they're gonna change that around or not. And also they made it so that your health, the health regeneration, the speed has been reduced by 1/3. And I'm not, like, I haven't done the math on this yet, but I guess it's like, it's a lot slower. What else? Boost chains are now more unsafe, and that's something I really am happy about, because there's a lot of characters in this game. Oh, sorry, they're a lot more unsafe, and there's less pushback, which means it's a lot easier to punish characters. So like, say something like Zangief's stand light kick into stand strong. If you were to do just light kick and then stand strong, you'd be safe, you know what I mean? But if you were to do the boost chain, because it was like, you could just constantly do it until you finally hit confirm into it, because you're just throwing it out there, and eventually somebody's gonna walk into it, because you know, Zangief's footsies are really good. And eventually you would just throw it out there and you would hit them, and then you just hit confirm into boost chain. But this time around they made it so that every boost chain, even from a light to a medium, not even just to a fierce, is really unsafe. It's like I think the minimum is maybe like -9 frames on block, and that's a lot of frames to recover from. So some character with like a jab or anything like less than 9 frames, that comes out in less than 9 frames, is gonna easily punish you, because not only are the boost chains a lot more unsafe, but like I said, you're gonna get pushed back even less, because a lot of the characters, even when they would do the boost chains that were really unsafe, they were like maybe -7 frames or -8 frames, even though they would do it, they would push you so far back that like something like Ryu's low forward wouldn't even be able to reach him, because he was like pushed back by the block string. And now that's not the case. I guess it's more like instead of being pushed back so much, it's gonna be more like a sucking. I don't know. I don't know how it is yet, but it seems in my mind that's how I see how it's gonna play out. So that's really cool. So something like if you guys have been following a lot of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, like the 25th anniversary tournaments or anything like that, you've been seeing Cody's been a huge problem. And something like his light kick to medium kick boost chain, where it was just his crouching light kick has ridiculous range, comes out on 3 frames, into his standing medium kick. He could just do that all day long and put the pressure on you. He didn't even have to do anything. Just those 2 moves right there was just enough pressure to scare you to not want to press the button. Now you don't have to worry. Now they're gonna change that around so that if he does that all day long, you punish him for free. So that's really cool. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so as far as speaking of characters, I'm gonna go into some of the character specific things that they've changed around. Like Cody, for instance, his crouching light kick, like one of the main. I'm gonna go over like some of the big things about these characters that I've noticed that, in my mind, I'm gonna be looking for now. His crouching light kick used to be 3 frames, like I said, and it's no longer 3 frames. It's 5 frames now, and the hitbox has been reduced, so it's not as far reaching as it was before, because it was pretty good. Yoga Sniper, the damage was nerfed. I think it was like 100 and now it does 80. Let's see what else. We got Relento. Relento, his health has been reduced from 1000 to 930. His far light punch hitbox is reduced. The hurt box on it is increased, meaning that he can't just spam far light punch, keep you in a block string. You can hit him out of it more easily now. The Patriot Circle, which I think is his Rekka, the first attack, is now -1 frame on hit and -5 on block, meaning if he does it too meaty, I think if he does it from like a distance, if he spaces it right, and I think he'll be a lot more safe. But he can't just throw that move out there for free anymore. He has to be a lot, like, Relentos have to be a lot smarter now with their Rekkas, and I think that's really cool. Ryu, a lot of his it just seems like a lot of his normals got a lot more startup frames. It just seems like his moves, like for instance his crouching roundhouse used to be, I believe it was 5 frames, which is pretty damn fast. That's a really fast roundhouse. It's now gonna be 7 frames. So 7 frames on startup. It's still the same hitbox, still everything about it that makes Ryu such a good character at controlling space and all that. He's still such a strong character in this game. It's just a lot of his normals take a little longer to put out now, so he's not going to be able to just easily like press buttons all day long. Sakura, I'm really happy with Sakura. I think I might start using her more. I'm still using her right now, but not as much. Her crouching high punch, now the hurt box has been reduced on it, which is really, really awesome, because it's kind of hard to anti-air with Sakura in this game. I tried testing out some of her normals. Like I think the best option she has is like air-to-air jump fierce, and that sometimes gets beaten out a lot by like Kazuya roundhouse or Ryu roundhouse, something like that. So it's really hard to like keep people off of you with Sakura, and for a character who has really low health, it's kind of scary if you can't even like keep people off of you. That was one of the main things that made Sakura such a threat in like Street Fighter 4, was she was able to put the pressure on you and at the same time keep you out. And in this game, it didn't seem like it. It seemed like you had to play a lot more riskier with her. And you couldn't. It was hard to keep people off you. Yoshimitsu, another character that I've been wanting to play since the beginning. It's just I don't know. There was a lot of issues with him. People make him work. I'm not saying he's the worst character in the game, but he does have a lot of problems. So first of all, his walk speed has been increased, and it's now the same as Cody's. I haven't really paid attention to Cody's walk speed. I don't know how fast it is, but if it's faster than Yoshimitsu's is right now, then that's great. Also, one thing that's really cool is his suicide attack where he stabs himself. It now does a shitload of more damage, not only to the opponent but to himself. I think the only difference between himself and his opponent is it does 50 less to him. So like say, I think EX does 300 damage, it'll do 250 to him. So it's a high risk but a high reward as well. Moving on, we got Hugo. Hugo is one of those characters that people think that, oh, you know, like most grappler characters are going to be good in the beginning and then they're just going to fade out. No, he is still a serious threat in this game, and I'm happy because there's a lot of things that have been changed with him, and I'm just going to cover some of the main things, which for one thing is body press, which is that jumping fierce attack. I think it's jumping fierce. It's like jumping down fierce. It's easily the most his go-to button. First of all, the block stun's been reduced on it, so he can't just like jump on top of you and you're like stuck there in block stun, not being able to do shit for the longest time. The damage has been reduced. This move, I didn't even know how much damage it did until right now. It did a whopping 140. A normal attack that did 140 damage. That is ridiculous. That is some serious damage right there. It went from 140 and it now does 110. And then the biggest change to it is its active frames went from 21 frames to 8. So that's one of the main issues with that move, is that he would just jump in the air and he'd be stuck there like swan diving onto you for like 2 hours until finally he connected. But now that's not the case. Now he has to throw out that move a little later in his jump. He can't just like throw it out for free. Because like if you notice, a lot of Hugo players, they would just jump, and the second they would jump, they press down fierce, because he would be stuck in the air like that in that animation, and that's no longer the case anymore. He can't do that. His monster lariat, the block stun's been increased, and it's minus 10 on block now, and then the super armor startup frame has been changed from 1 frame to 6 frames, and I think what that means is that before his monster lariat, when you would do it, as soon as he stuck out a limb, his super armor would activate and he would just absorb everything, would just go through everything. Even if you were to like try to do an EX move right after, he would just absorb the first attack immediately and then go through you and like just power on through, even if you were planning on for a follow-up. So which made it such a threatening move and so hard to knock him out of it. And it's now going to be 6 frames. So that means that on startup, as he's doing the swing, he's not going to have the super armor until the 6th frame. So meaning you can hit him out of it a lot more easily, and he can't just throw it out for free. Obviously also because it's now going to be minus 10 on block. Ken, his far roundhouse, the like swing kick, it's now going to be from 13 frames to 11 frames. His target combo is now plus 3 frames on hit and minus 4 on block. And his super, it got a damage increase from 300 to 340, and the first hit moves farther, like his first attack. And from here, like reading all these things like about Ken, it seems like he seems a lot closer to his third strike iteration, meaning like, because in third strike, his roundhouse, that far roundhouse was really good in that game. His target combos was really like one of his go-to buttons, and it seems like that's what they're trying to do with him in this game, that they're making his normals a lot stronger, and that's really cool. So like those kind of moves are obviously like to get in your face and to make you want to press a button against him, and he's just gonna hit you. So these are some of the changes. These are just like a couple of the changes to like characters, but I pretty much covered most of the system changes. There could be more announcements from the weeks to come, but until then, I will keep you updated on that. I'm gonna leave a link in the description as to where I got all this information. So if you want to hear if you want to read more information about your character specifically, like Vega or anything like that, or Sagai, if you want to know what changes they're gonna be doing to them, like overall changes to all the characters is like across the board. Every character got their boost chains nerfed, meaning that they push back less and they're way more unsafe on block. And then obviously there are some like notes in there as far as other characters, what changes they got. So if you enjoy this, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.